entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal.
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We're going to have a class in session, and we're going to go over some financial literacy for all of you entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, or, if you're getting ready to sign that big financial deal with a contract provider. We have some information we just want to share with you. But in the meantime and in between time, I wanna talk to my co-host. I haven't
All
seen my
right.
co-host in
Since last week.
uh, 8 days.
In
So
the 8 whole days.
8 whole days. So I want to talk to my co-host. How you doing, co-host?
I am fine. I am fine. It has been a busy week. We're about 15 days out from tax season,
And
from the
15
tax day.
days?
15 days. Oh,
Wait a
actually,
second.
no, 5 days. 5 days
Oh,
now.
okay. Because
5 days,
I'm doing
man.
15.
No, 5 days. Actually, less than that. It's the 15th, 3 days. So we're right around the corner. And so, of course, I have, my clients, not all of them, I will say, majority of them have been on it. There's a lot of them that we already know they had to do extensions, so they have already done their due.
Yeah.
Um, but it nevertheless doesn't mean that there's not like a court press at the week of, and that's what
Oh,
we're
man.
doing now, a full court press.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I know this is your time of the year, man. That's why I don't really try to call you or anything to disturb you, because I know you got your plate full. You got your plate and your tray and everything full.
Oh
So,
my all, and on top of that, I had to get so my niece lives in Egypt,
yeah.
and we had a deadline. It was on March 31st to get her an appointment so that I could get her the baby's. Had to make a you have to apply and have an appointment to let the embassy know that the child was born abroad, and so the
Oh,
deadline.
so you got to bring the child here, right? Is that it?
No, there. I
Bring
mean,
the
but
child there.
the child is there,
Oh,
but
okay.
we had to get an appointment with the U.S. Embassy to make sure that they get the announcement that the baby was born abroad. So she's going to be 2 in July, and
Oh,
I had already applied for it. But however, the deadline was coming up where we would have to reapply again.
oh,
And so
okay.
all this week I was getting trying to get that done, and got that done. She
That's a
got the
pain in the
appointment.
butt, isn't it?
Whew, it is.
Anyone
And
who has
it's
never been through the U.S. Embassy before, man, I'm telling you, and especially if you're one of us, they think you're trying to smuggle some stuff or you're trying to do some illegal stuff, man. Oh, whoa.
what is interesting is, even as an American citizen, going through the process is
Hmm.
challenging. So, when people say, "Oh, the immigrants just come in,"
Yeah.
not if they got to come through the embassy. Ain't no just come in.
I'm telling you, man, I went through hell with these people. I went through these hell with these people for years. You know, even when it was finally ready, I didn't believe them that it was ready. I'm going, yeah, right. It's just another disappointing meeting you guys are calling me in for, you know. But when I finally got it, man, even when I got it, I said, man, something is gonna go wrong. I'm not too happy. I'm not getting too giddy about this. Even when I took the plane and I came here, I said, "Oh, I'm going through customs. Something is gonna happen."
They gonna pull you out as you get
Yeah,
just across the street, and like, come back here, dude,
exactly.
get back over here.
Say, hey, there's one piece of paper we didn't finish complete, so you gotta go back so we can do it, and then you can come back. It's like, man.
Right. So with her, um, So I got all the papers. But here's the thing: she has to come equipped with the copies. And so she's in Egypt. It's not like there's no Staples, so where you can just go get a copy done, and she doesn't have
Right.
a printer. So I had to make all the copies. I filled out all the information and sent it there. So she's gonna take the originals, and
Yeah.
and I along with the copy. So I had to put it in a nice binder and the whole bit, and then I had to send it FedEx. But her not to Egypt because that ain't easy. So I have to send it to her aunt who is going to be there on the 19th
Right.
so that she'll be ready for her appointment on the 22nd. So that's what I've
Man,
been doing all week long.
I can imagine, man. That's super time consuming, man.
Yeah, so
I,
that has
I
been my week.
I would not want to see my enemies go through that, man, because it sucks your energy, it zaps you, it mess with your mood. You know, you don't know how to feel on any given day because there's always something wrong. Hey, you didn't sign this document. Hey, you're supposed to put a T over here. What about the I over here? It's like, come
Right.
on,
So now
guys.
I have to preempt. That's what I was doing on this side, preempting any conversation or any question that they may have and
Yeah,
making sure that there was a document that
yeah,
can represent it. and and now, of course, I've never been through the process, so I don't know what that process is. But
yeah,
whatever it is,
man.
I had to preempt it.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. Sometimes they ask us some stupid things like, "Hey, bring us your rent receipt." What? What do you need my rent receipt for? It's
Well,
crazy, man.
they're asking her for when she was here, what was her addresses and
Yeah.
how did she. So
Hmm.
I told her that she has to bring all the tax returns. I bring your passport. Obviously, I gave them copies of her passport and all her
Yeah.
stamps in and out of the
Birth
country,
certificate.
birth certificate, you name it, everything. The baby's doctor's appointment
See,
schedule.
see, that's another thing that they do too. They'll ask you, "So who's the baby's doctor? What's the name of the doctor?" What? I don't
So
remember the name of no goddamn doctor.
that's why I had everything. I have preempted everything that possibly they could ask her. And then um they wanted uh, English translations
Oh
of the
Lord.
marriage. Now it's in Egypt. So the embassy is in Egypt
Oh, okay.
and everybody that works there is Egyptian, but I
Yeah.
had to have the English translation of all of the documents. So I had to
Dang,
have somebody
man.
translate that. So that's what I've been doing
That is crazy, Cole.
though.
After you're done doing this, I guarantee you will not want to go through it again.
Her next baby gonna be born here on the U.S. soil.
That that's why those dudes are talking about going abroad and bringing back a wife or something like. They have no clue how difficult that is, man. Because you
Yeah,
get first of all, the embassy is gonna think, hey, this person's bringing this person over here to get a free ride, and maybe you're making it look like you're okay right now, you can sustain this person, but we know when they come here they're going to be on welfare, they're going to be on assistance. That's how they're thinking, you
right.
know so they're making sure that this person is not going to become a liability on the country, which I understand, but sometimes they go to they do too much. you know
Yeah.
I remember when I was at the embassy, man, I had to prove that I have certain skills. I'm gonna be working with my uncle and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Those people.
And how long have you been doing this work? How did you learn this work? It's like, man, it was crazy, man. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it's interesting. It's definitely more than getting a passport. I will tell you that. Hey, Greg. Greg said you're looking kind of blue today, Gilbert.
Yeah, man. I'm not feeling blue though. I'm looking blue.
Greg, we're gonna
How
talk.
you doing, my street correspondence? My field
Our
correspondent.
correspondent. So, Greg, we're gonna. I don't think our guest is gonna make it today. So today we're talking about your favorite subject, financial literacy. So
Yep.
feel free to chime in at any point, my brother.
Yeah, we're gonna be leaning on your expertise today, Mr. Greg Sneed.
Yes, we are. So, how was your week?
Man, what happened this week? Some things happen. Some things,
I
you
know
know.
it was.
If it's not 3 or 4 days in succession, I don't remember, man.
I know. This was a very fast week. It
Yes,
just went by really
it
really
went by
fast. We
quickly.
had the eclipse and financial ignorance. Yes, we had the eclipse that was going on. Everybody was excited
I
about
didn't
that.
even realize there was an eclipse until like the night of it. The on the talk shows they were talking about. I'm going, what eclipse?
Yeah,
Because
and the next.
I didn't notice a difference. Did you notice a difference?
No,
I
And
didn't
there were
notice.
people that were sending emails, I mean, texts to me. They were up at the park watching and asking me if I would. My workload was so intense on Tuesday.
You don't have
I
time
wasn't
for
even.
that.
I ain't got time for that. If it happens on Saturday or Sunday, I may have time. But if it's happening doing Monday through Friday, I do not have time to
Yeah,
take out to
man.
go look at eclipses. He said your
He on
eclipse was on
Eclipse
island
Island
time.
time. Yeah, that's right, man. Eclipse Island time, man. We just take it easy, man. Wagwan, man.
Oh Lordy have mercy. So
Oh man.
it was
So
it was good.
so
It
they
was a
had
week.
that. They had the eclipse. They had what else? Oh, OJ died. OJ Simpson died.
OJ Simpson died.
Died on the
Yeah.
10th.
Yesterday that was yesterday, day for yesterday. I tried to stay off the news or
The chitter chatter.
because I didn't want to go back and relive whatever that was. What was that, 92 or whatever?
Nine,
I didn't
is it
really.
92 or 95? 95
95,
to
I can't remember what it
97.
was, but I didn't want to relive that whole chase. I didn't want to relive
Yeah,
none of that. So I actually just didn't do the television on that day
right,
at all. But we
right.
also lost uh, Greg and I, 94. Greg and I are our pastor, Cecil Chip
Who? Which
Murray.
pastor?
He was he's
Chip Murray?
yeah, he was the pastor at Fame for many many years. He
Oh,
retired. He passed away this year.
what did he die of?
I mean, when was it, Greg? Monday, I think it was. Yeah, this age, he was 95, 94 years old, and so
So
he
he
closed
lived a
his
long
eyes.
life, man.
He lived a long, impactful life. My gosh, yesterday on the community briefing, myself, Greg, uh, um, what did he say? They interrupted him to watch yeah, right, exactly. The Bronco on the freeway. See, I didn't want to see none of that.
Really? They did? That is crazy, man.
Yeah, we'd already been there, done that. Didn't want to do that. But
That
Reverend
is
Murray,
crazy.
he lived a very impactful life. So yesterday on the community briefing, myself, Joseph Duncan, and this is how I met Greg actually at Fame,
Yeah.
and Robin. We were all went to
You're
attended
all a
First Union.
team.
We all were ministered by Reverend Murray. He was just an amazing. So he he lived an amazing life, left some big shoes for folks to care to step into.
Yeah.
His carbon footprint has definitely been felt in not just in this city, but around the country and around the world.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear
So
that, man. Sorry to
blessings
hear.
to him.
I
He's
I
gone
would
on.
like to live until I'm in my 90s though, like him.
And actually, he was pretty agile. He was starting to lose his memory a little bit, but
Yeah.
he was pretty agile at 94 years
See,
old.
I already start losing my memory, so
I think, let me tell you a story. So 2 days ago, I was teaching a class, and I teach this class every month, right? So
yeah.
it's like imprinted in the brain. But I was tired because it's been a long week, and yeah, at that age when you start forgetting things, and I was struggling. I'm like, why can't I remember stuff? I couldn't even. I was struggling. So yesterday I had to have a V8. So when I taught my class last night, I was on point. Had to have a V8.
Oh man. So
Ooh, it's hard to get old.
you're probably going, what's going on here? Is this for real? Is this a dream?
Right, I'm like searching for words. every week, every month, I teach the same class. Nothing changes. I only change the course once a year. So it's not like I didn't know what I said the month before. I just had a blank, Gilbert. I'm like, and I was teaching on mission statements and vision statements. I mean, how much more simpler can that get?
Co-host, what you're talking about right now happened to me. You remember when I was doing the SBA Navigator program for the Urban League?
Uh huh.
That happened to me one class, and I'm going, how can I not remember what I need to say about this? I talk about it every time, so how come I don't remember?
And you guys think Gilbert and I are just like superheroes. We forget stuff sometimes. I'll just tell you that right off the bat.
So I told you right after my COVID, when GLAC was having their BEP graduation,
Uh huh.
I think not last year, probably the year before, right? And I was on stage and I was trying to introduce Rhonda Jackson.
Oh my.
I totally forgot her name. I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring on stage right now, Miss Miss. People are looking at me funny, like, what the hell is Rhonda? Fuck. So I'm going, and she said, Rhonda Gilbert, Rhonda. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I know it's a sad thing. When you get to that age and you start forgetting things, people that you know, things that you speak on a regular basis. I was like, I had to find some other words. I had to create some associations so I could get back to the word. Woo, I was needless to say, I was exhausted after that
You were
workshop.
having a Gilla Buchanan moment.
I was exhausted. I had to put myself to bed.
When I used to see my mom do that, I used to laugh at her, man. And she'd say, "You think it's funny, huh? Wait till it's your turn."
Yeah, well, there you go. It is our turn. So, but I know you guys are chuckling because this is the same thing that happens to you if you 50 plus. Something happens to the memory, and it's a hard
Man,
thing. It's a
I,
hard
I
thing.
I used to get those moments after COVID, man, and every now and again now I'll still, kind of forget something. You remember I told you I didn't remember people's name right after COVID, right?
Right, exactly. I know. I tell you, you have to. I got off going. Maybe I need to do more crossword puzzles. Maybe I just need to go to sleep. Maybe that's what I need
Co-host,
to
I
do.
can't picture you not remembering something, man, because you're sharp, you're on top of your game, man, and for you to be forgetting stuff is like, whoa.
Yeah, that was the night of the cult. That was actually the night of the eclipse, and I think it was the eclipse. I think
The
it
eclipse
snatched my
cloud.
memory.
The eclipse your memory.
It eclipsed my memory. All righty, guys, that's our intro here. We had a interesting, unique week. But today we're going to talk about financial literacy. This is Financial Literacy Awareness Month, or as Greg says, financial ignorance. And
Ignorance.
unfortunately, that is a big issue here in this world that we live in. And so we had to touch on it. My plan was to do it at the end of the month, but our guest, we had some misconnections, so we'll work on getting that. I think we have a guest next week, and then I have a guest coming in the following week after that. So, but
Well,
in the
since this is
meantime,
Financial Literacy Month, then it would be very appropriate for now.
yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about financial literacy, Greg. You can drop in information. Oh, what did he say? A
Let
church friend brought me some homemade Scotch bonnet
pepper
pepper
sauce.
sauce.
That's Jamaican stuff, man. That
Oh,
stuff
okay. I'm
is
like, what
that
is
stuff
that?
is super hot, man. But it's got a nice flavor when you smell it, man. It's got that nice, aroma to it, make you want to eat it. But then once you, you taste it, ooh, that pepper takes over, man. You start sweating.
Okay, well, you might be a little bit busy over there, Greg. All righty, guys. So before we jump over here to our financial literacy
Let's
classes
tell them
session,
how to find us on YouTube, co-host.
yes. Okay. So, guys, we've been on the air for this year 8 years. So we're excited about, we'll be 8 years
Eight
in
long
July.
years.
8 years. It just seems like it just was yesterday.
I know.
But you can go over to our YouTube channel and you can hit our subscribe button so that you can be informed when we're going to be on the air. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So wherever you are thinking you'd like to find us, you can find us. Just Google us, the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. But you can also hit that QR code, and it'll take you directly to our channel. Hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoy the show, hit the like button. That really helps us as well. There are over 750 plus video archives over there on every topic under the rainbow that pertains to business between myself and my co-host, Mr. Gilbert Buchanan, as
That's
well as
right.
a host of amazing guests. So please go over and do that. We would so appreciate
You see what Greg said right there?
it. No.
He said 2 more years and you two are married.
At
so
least from the 10
so
year
so
standpoint, huh?
as at the 10 year mark, Greg, we're gonna be what do you call it?
Common law.
Common law, common law husband and wife, or or
Radio.
radio husband and wife.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Greg, for that. He's too funny. All righty, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in here today. So I don't know, we're in the financial industry. Gilbert and I, Greg,
That's
we're
right.
all in the financial industry. And one of the biggest things that I find in my space is the how yeah, common property, how little people understand about money.
That's true. That's why Greg called it financial ignorance.
Right, exactly. You
People
you
don't know
hear some
much.
you hear some conversations. Now, I heard a conversation. Right now it's huge. Um, there's been some issues about those. If you're using a third party app to transfer money back and forth, like your Cash Apps, your Venmo, your Zelle. I think there's some others out there. But of
Hmm.
late, if you're sending money by Zelle, you have to be very, very careful because the money is not necessarily getting to where you thought it was going, and people are actually monies are going into the Ethernet. And so recently, I heard of someone that lost eight, and this is someone that I personally know. So this is not something that I read. This is
Mm.
something that person that I personally know.
So they
They
send
lost
money and it didn't get there.
no $18,000.
What? They sent that through Zelle? That is so crazy, man. That is so crazy, man.
Right. So I've had to start adding to my client to my recitals. Hey, as a business owner, you have other merchant tools that you should be using that have much more safeguard on the
Yeah,
other side of it so you can
yeah.
get your money back.
Hmm.
So give them my number, send me money. And but this is not just that person. This just happens to be someone that I've met. But if you do a Google search on how many people have sent money by Zelle and it
Hmm.
hasn't gotten to where it's supposed to go,
Wow.
and certain banks, Wells Fargo being one of them, because the ones that I've heard about has been Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo will not get your money back.
Wow. They won't
Mm-mm.
guarantee your money?
No, because the Zelle, those platforms are not FDIC regulated.
Oh, I see. So they're saying since it's not an approved channel, they cannot support or reimburse you for the money if you lose it.
Right.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Folks, I hope this is a lesson. It's unfortunate that it happened that to that person, $18,000 lost in the cyberspace mode. We don't know where it went or who got it. But folks, just do not use those, those non FDIC insured platform to send your money.
Exactly. Your bank have you can wire money through your banks. You can do through and through QuickBooks you can do the an ACH. You
Hmm.
can send money through an ACH. Won't cost you anything. And even
Right.
if it does, it's a business expense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so but when it comes to especially large sums, you I use Cash App, but I only use it with family and people
Yeah.
that I know for very small amounts of money.
Exactly.
For
That means if
very
you lose that, you don't mind losing it.
right, exactly. But if I'm going to use a third party, I'll use PayPal because that one is FD, yeah,
FDIC
yeah, that one
insured.
is. So PayPal, which is one of the oldest ones, actually, that's one of the
Hmm.
oldest PayPal. But I use, my accounting system is QuickBooks. You
Yeah.
use a merchant system,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And so even though we may want to find a way to, make sure we're not having to put out a lot of money for merchant services, but however, what you do want to do is make sure you protect the money that you have worked hard for. So think about that, guys. Um, and if your bank is not going to regulate that, then yeah, and then they're not going to get you fight for your money back, then that is definitely a issue.
If you send your money, folks, if you send your money via one of those uh unapproved channels to get to somebody else and you lose it, then that's financial ignorance. If you send it through an approved channel and they get the money, then that is financial literacy. Keep that in mind, guys.
Exactly. So Greg even agrees with us. Zelle should be only used for personal transactions.
Yeah,
Never use Zelle for business. Wires are not reversible. Use PayPal or Stripe or Square. These are
that's right.
actually appropriate tools that you should be using for business transactions.
I
But
agree.
please, people, I can't tell you how many notifications I got this week on articles where people were fighting with their banks trying to get their money back, and the bank is just saying, "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do." But
That is crazy, man.
I mean, we're talking 18,000 was the largest that I read,
That's a
but
lot of money right there.
2,500, 5,000. Um, all of those things. But it brings us to our topic today: is financial
Hmm.
literacy. It's so important to understand all aspects of money. That illiteracy we have has cost Americans large sums of money just because you didn't understand how money works.
Right.
Yeah, so it's important. So, um, financial literacy empowers us to make sure we make the right choices that will balance meeting our financial needs and our goals. And today, when things cost so much money, you really have to monitor every dime of your little dollars that you're earning. Uh, Losing it is not a good thing.
Not a good thing at all. Not a good thing.
So, and for those of you now, Greg, you can throw in some numbers in there. I would say we're never taught about money.
Right.
We're just not. Our parents. I know it depends. If you come from a two-parent family and both mom and dad are, they're taking care of their business, right? They don't usually have a conversation with you about where the money's coming from.
Right. Right.
Those of us that were born in that grew up in single parent families, you
Yeah.
definitely understand when there is no money for you to be wasting.
That's right. You start messing around with money and somebody doesn't get to eat dinner because of you, the whole family is going to be at your throat.
Right, exactly. So so used to be, and I think today kids think money grows on trees, or at least monies are attached to that bank card that you have. But understanding that financial literacy is the knowledge and skills about things like investing and budgeting and borrowing and paying taxes and managing your own money. And being financially literate means not having any of these skills. I
Right.
had someone reach out to me the other day, and he was saying he was sorry that I was no longer having the RBD meetings. I was like, well, or are we going to have any
Is
in
that true?
person?
Is that true?
Well, we're doing a community briefing. That has become the meeting. We're just not doing it
Oh.
in play. We're just not doing it in person anymore.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. I
Yeah, but
see.
RBD meetings used to be once a month.
Yeah.
Now we are on community briefing every week. So
Right. Right. And it
and
used to be at a certain location, right?
uh-huh, and that location is no longer we no longer have accessibility to that after the pandemic.
Right.
So I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but you can join us on the community briefing." He's like, "No, no, no, no. I need to actually see people." I was like, "Why?" He says, "Because I have this new business idea, new business." And I said, "Okay."
So
He
he
says
can see them on the briefing, man.
he could, but yeah, he could, and more people actually.
Yeah,
And
he
I
can see
said,
them on the briefing.
yeah, he's saving money he spent at Denny's for RBD. No, he's not. Because he wanted to come out. This is why he wanted it. He wanted to come out to talk to the people that were there about
Yeah.
this new. He can get funding and loans for any business that are out
Oh, okay.
there.
So that's what it is, huh?
So I told him, I said, well, I have a different mindset about about loans for small businesses. If
Yeah,
it's not being used to grow the business and
right.
increase the revenue, I'm not about them just applying for loans just for the
That's
sake of
right.
having a loan.
Yeah.
So basically, guys, that I think the component here is people think you borrow money and it solves all your problems, but it doesn't. It
Mm-mm-mm.
just creates more debt for you.
Yeah.
And so the components of financial literacy is understanding budget. How do you get from utilizing, start of the month to the end of the month, making sure you have enough resources to take care of all your financial obligations, um, making money work for you, um, your personal financial management, learning how to borrow, and establishing credit. So, Gilbert, in your space for your small business owners, they have actually need for borrowing money. So, how do you
Yes.
advise your clients?
Well, I always recommend to my clients that don't go ahead and get a loan unless you're purchasing a building or property or something or equipment. Then you don't want to go out and get a loan, a business loan. You should always strive for a line of credit. You want to have that business line of credit so you have that access to that extra cash that you can use to uh, uh, increase your cash flow. You can use it to make payroll. You can buy, little supplies for the business. If you get a contract and you're working the contract, you haven't gotten paid on the contract as yet, you can use your line of credit to either meet payroll or enhance your cash flow until you get paid on the contract. Then you replenish the line of credit. So that's what I recommend usually for my small businesses.
Yeah, that's the same thing here. And for my small businesses, it's um, using it to either expanding their product line, buying new equipment, uh, setting up and maybe investing in a marketing strategy or a marketer or social media manager,
Or
something that
hiring
on it,
someone.
hiring an employee,
Yeah.
whatever it is, it should be able to generate, increase your revenue streams and how much revenue you're bringing in every month. But you have to sit there and you have to actually do your budgeting and understand your numbers, do your accounting so you see how much money you're coming into your business and how
Right.
much money is going out of your business.
Right.
And it's something that you have to look at on a monthly basis. In some
Hmm.
cases, bi-monthly. So
Right.
especially I've always found the least amount if you have less money coming in, it requires more budgeting and more oversight of your
Yeah.
budget.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, because a lot of times you can have a lot of money coming in, and you got some leeway. You have some space, and money's there, and so
Yeah.
you don't stay on top of your finances as much as you would. But when there is hard, when the budgets are tight and the money is tight, then you have to stay on top of it.
Yeah. You got to become financially competent and also literate, to know what's going on in the business to make that money sustainable.
Exactly, exactly. So, um, and it starts with the earning process, making sure that you're earning enough money, generating enough money to cover whatever your financial obligations are. As Gilbert knows, I love to talk about multiple revenue streams.
That's right. That's right.
So, one revenue stream in this day and age is not enough for you. You must create different avenues of resources to come in. Automatic money is great, the money that's happening while you sleep. So,
Yeah.
that's one. Um, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. So,
Hmm.
you one client ain't enough. You gotta you. I told my class last night that in theory, one should have a best customer who spends a lot of money, just not
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
A sustainable customer that keeps your
Hmm.
doors open,
Right.
right? A lookalike customer, which is your customer but somewhere else, and you have to be able to bring them into the fold. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the final is your aspirational customer, somebody
Right.
that will come and change your life. Like, what's your client that somebody came and offered to buy their business?
That's Mario.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an aspirational customer,
Yeah.
somebody that comes in and changes the whole game plan. We all should be
Mhm.
looking for that.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to put out there for small businesses listening to this podcast and also entrepreneurs, always in the ready position, always expect someone to make an offer to you for your business because that means you've already thought about what you're going to ask for the business. You already thought about the worth and the value of the business. You've done your research, you've done your evaluation on the business, so you already know. So when they ask you, hey, are you selling this business, you can either quickly say yes or no based on what they're offering. So that's another something I want to throw out there too. And that comes with financial competency and literacy.
Exactly. But how many businesses don't think about that part of the business?
A
That
lot. I would
succession
I
or
would say
exit
about
strategy.
95% of businesses don't think like that.
How do they get to that, Gilbert? How do they get to that valuation or your
So and I don't want to push my product, like I'm trying to haggle them or anything like that, but I have a platform called Small Biz Pro, and in that platform it has a valuation piece that shows you how to go about conducting valuation on your business, because a lot of you'd be shocked, co-host, how many small businesses don't really have a concept of the worth of their business. Say, hey, are you selling your business? Yeah, I want 20 million when they're only generating sales of about $200,000 a year. So if your business is generating 200K, how can you ask for 20 million? I mean, come on, that's a big jump right there. So you got to have an idea the value of your business. What are you selling? Are you selling the name? Are you selling your customer list? Are you selling the history of your business? If you're a legacy business, That means you've been in the community for more than 10 years, and let's say you're up to 30 years or 40 years, that's worth something. That's a value to that. You may have a customer list, you may have some star employees who you've trained, if you're selling the business, hey, my employees goes with the business,
Mhm.
so that type of thing you could do. So yeah, they need to be on top of the game, and they need to know the value of the business. You could do a valuation um, for little or no money. Your first initial meeting is usually free when you
Mhm.
speak to valuators. And there's quite a few in Los Angeles, guys. You just, go online and type in the word valuation for your business, and you'll see all kinds of reps that pop up, and then it's your job to interview them and see which one is the one you like the best, which one gives you knowledge and information on how the process works. So yeah, you really want to know the value of your business, guys.
Yeah, it's very, very important, because I mean, and there's a lot of intellectual property
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you have within the confines of your business. Your brand, as the nominee for the Republican presidency says,
yeah,
uh, he bases his value on his
on
brand.
his brand. And see that the brand could be an intangible thing that only you feel that your brand is worth a certain amount. Others may say that brand, that's a crappy brand, or
Right,
whatever.
exactly. So there's some bankruptcies and some other things on the other side of that
Yeah.
brand. And it diminishes the value, but
Yes.
there are some businesses that have some a major brand value to it. Especially if
Yeah.
you have your intellectual properties. Like Gilbert, you have a software project,
Yep.
a
Patents
program
and trademarks.
trademark. So that's part of his brand. So
Yeah.
therefore, part of the valuation of his business. Your book of business,
Yep.
especially if it's contractual. So you have
Exactly.
contracts that you
Exactly.
have, and if you were going to sell that, so these are all of the pieces that are incorporated in your business, but it does require you to establishing a solid groundwork on your financials, making sure
Hmm.
you understand that you have an accounting system, you know what your numbers are. Um, all of those things are very, very important to the valuation of your business.
I would like to say, co-host, all those entrepreneurs out there listening and viewing this podcast right now, if you haven't done a valuation on your business within the last 5 years, this coming week, you guys want to start fielding different types of valuators. Meeting with them. Reaching out to them, setting up appointments with them, just so you can start understanding the value of your business, because you never know. An opportunity may come once, and that person may say, I receive calls all the time. Hey, are you selling your business? And my answer is no, because I'm not ready yet. I know how much my value should be. So I want to start building some other things within my business to get to that valuation that I think I should have. So those are things to think about when you're running a business. But you always should have in the back of your mind or on paper what your company is worth, the value of it.
Awesome, awesome. Also, so the other components of financial literacy is establishing credit, learning how to borrow money, and it all starts with the personal financial management. So, um, I get this question, and I don't know how often you get this question, but I get this question all the time. How do you build business credit?
Yeah.
Uh, well, it starts with the personal.
Yeah. I get that a lot too.
So, but it does start with your because for time frame, they're going to be looking at your personal credit score, which is your FICO score,
Yeah.
before they even get to it. But however, let's say that your personal credit is in pristine shape. and you have, I don't know, somewhere between a 650 or 750 and an 800 FICO score, 850, then let's say you're on point. So some quick tips. We're not going into detail on you, but 8 steps to establishing your business credit is to incorporate your business. That
Mm-hmm.
means establish a legal entity for your
Yeah.
business. Um, Beyond the self prop, right? It should be an LLC or so.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you
It,
what do you
it
recommend?
it could be an LLC, as an S corp or C corp. Many of the tax preparers that I know, they suggest that you either do the S corp or the C corp. The one that's preferable is a C corp, because that covers a whole lot of things. And on top of that, with a C corp, you can have a multitude of shareholders, more than 100. The S corp, you can only have 100 shareholders, but with a C corp, you can have unlimited shareholders. So many of those companies you see, they go public. They have like a public offering. They have a C corp, because that means they have unlimited shareholders. All type of people can buy shares from your business. But as an S corp, which you usually don't see an S corp on the, what do you call that thing, in the morning, where they have the bell, stock
Oh,
market
the
there, where they,
Nasdaq
yeah,
or the, yeah,
where they
stock
have the
exchange.
bell.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
you usually don't see an S corp on that, because you can only have 100 shareholders. So it's usually
Right.
C corps that are, public offerings, that have
Mhm.
public offerings. So yeah.
And that's when you're really expanding your,
Oh
getting ready to make
yeah,
some big time money.
big time.
When you're going public, and you too, as a small business, can be public.
Oh
It
yeah.
is costly
Oh
for
yeah.
that to happen, but you do have to have
Yeah, tell
a
them,
lot.
tell them a little bit about that, Cole. So I know you have helped a client of yours to, prepare for a public offering, and to be on the Nasdaq, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
give them a little idea what the cost is, because it's quite a bit of money. I don't want to spoil my co-host's thunder, because she went through the process with a client, and it's a whole lot of money, guys. It costs a lot.
Yes, minimum is about $600,000. That's the
Yep,
minimum, and but because you have,
600K.
yeah, you have 600K, mainly because you have to have a lot of professionals, attorneys, um, and entities of that nature to assess your financials. There's audits in place. You got to have bookkeeping done. And then you, of course, have to have legitimate and realistic investments there. So, what does it mean going public? Public is the process of selling shares that were formerly held privately and now are available to new investors for the first time. When the person's buying shares into your company, that means they're investing in your company, so that is generating revenue. That's one of those new revenue streams that will come in. Um, that Those revenue streams, and so it's number of shares that are out there, and there's a lot of regulatory. Is not for everyone because
Hmm.
you are now under a microscope.
All kinds of scrutiny. The feds, everybody, SEC, that's a Securities Exchange Commission. They're all looking at you now.
Yeah, they're all looking at you, so it's not for everyone. If you don't do business quite right, and you have some, I don't know, you're doing some different things on your business, then that's not the place for you. But what are the advantages of going public? Um, it strengthens your capital base, meaning
It's like having
you have
input.
money coming
It's
in
like
because
having
you can
input
actually
from all
sell
kinds of
shares.
shareholders, right? Co-host, can you hear me?
And
It's like having input
can you?
from
Oh,
all types of
wait a minute,
shareholders.
am I?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's on your side. Check to see if your mute is on or off.
Yeah, it is on my. Hold on, let me do this. Let me cut out some. I
I
have a
can
lot
hear you though. I
tabs
I
open,
can
so
hear you
let me
though.
shut down some of them because that.
Yeah.
You can hear me. So this is
Yeah.
so what it does is, yeah, you have now investors, you have partners into your, and so these partners are people that say so to your company because they're shareholders, and
Hmm.
they can be quite
Yeah.
unhappy with you. And if they're quite unhappy with you, then that means that you know, or
They
it
have
could
no
actually
confidence in you.
change what your company change. No confidence in you, then you start losing money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually example of that, there's a company that went public this past 2 weeks ago, and they started out really well, and their stock has decreased significantly because there's no real value behind the actual stock. So that's one of the
I
issues
think I
that is
heard of that
happening.
company. Which company was that
You
again,
think
co-host?
so? That is the
I think I
company
heard
that
of
is
that
a tech.
company.
Yeah, it's called True Social.
So, oh, that
um,
one. Yes. Yes.
that
So
one.
they said their stocks were like close to $100 a share, and then like 2 weeks ago it went down to 40. Is it $40 a share?
It's now 30, about 38, $34
Oh,
a share.
38. Now this week it's 38.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh man.
not probably wasn't a good probably wasn't a good decision, but yeah, it can definitely change you. It can take you from a zeronaire to a billionaire and to a
And
trillionaire if
and
it's
see,
done properly.
that's a good point though, co-host, because depending on what's going on in your business, if it seems like there's instability or fraud or anything going on in their business, then that will affect the value of the stocks on the market on the public markets, you
Yes,
know.
it will.
So
But
yeah.
people can actually you're trading on the public stock exchange, which means
Hmm.
now once that happens, your people can buy your stock. And everyone actually, both if you're in business or not. If you are an employee and then you have a 401k or some sort of investment plan, they're investing in the stock market in some cases. And that's how they're growing your retirement plan through buying and purchasing stock that will increase your dollars in your retirement dollars. But
So
it can
so
also go the other way as well.
so here you have personal credit versus business credits. Now, with the personal credit, that's tied to your FICO and all of that, the credit cards you have, the people you do business with,
Hmm.
and your
Hmm.
score can be anywhere from what, three something or four something to 849, 845. Is that correct?
Yeah, somewhere like that. Greg, you want to confirm that? Yeah, somewhere. I think under five or under three. I think you really have no credit. Um,
I remember
650 is kind of
I
middle of the
remember
road.
one time, man, I had no credit at all. People were rejecting me left, right, and center. They going, "Sorry, you have no credit." I'm going, "What?"
Yeah, no credit is generally under that five marker. And here's the other thing that this is the thing that people have to recognize, understand though. Once, let's say when you had no credit,
Yeah,
Gilbert, that didn't mean that you had no credit for the rest of your
right.
life. That just means for that time
Yeah,
frame, you had to do there were some action items that required your
yeah,
attention so that you could start building your
right.
credit. And so when we look at that, and a lot of times I think with our small business owners, um, they feel that if they've been denied because of their credit score, that's just a life sentence that is going to be with them for the duration of their lives, and that's not the case. Because if you actually go look at and pull your credit report and you look and see what's on your credit report, you have the right as to go and contest that.
Yeah.
And if they can't prove that, if they don't have the original documentation and so forth, that's all part of the Fair Credit
Act.
um, Act. Then there's some resources for you. But getting those credit score or those demerits off of your credit is one way to start to increase that, and then maybe going out and getting a secured bank card or credit card, and then paying that card on time.
Right. Right.
That's important, and making sure that you're monitoring that. And it doesn't take a lot to actually get your credit score moving
Right.
upwards. Actually, today, Experian and I think Credit Karma,
Equifax and TransUnion.
Equifax, yeah, they actually have programs. I know Experian has they call it the boost. So now you can actually start monitoring your credit, your personal credit with Experian, and everything you connect it to your bank. So whenever you pay your rent, you pay your cell phone, you pay your utilities, you pay your whatever, then those are now being applied to help you improve your
Yeah,
credit.
definitely. And for the business, with the business credit score, you're scored from 1 to 100. That's how you're scored, from 1 to 100 as a business credit system. But
Mhm.
in order to get credit for your business, you want to apply for certain. You can apply in two ways. You can apply as a, if you're a supplier, you can apply for supplier credit. So that means, you go to your distributor or manufacturer, they decide to extend you credit, and oh, okay. He said he was muted. So
Yeah.
you can obtain credit from your manufacturer or distributor as a supplier, so you can supply that material to your client directly, and they'll give you like a 30-day time frame to pay it off, right? So you want
Mhm.
to make sure you're on time. You want to pay that. Don't wait a day after the day off to pay it. Just pay it like 5 days before it's due, to show, because then a little glitch could occur. And that will add towards your credibility. Again, remember, your business credit score is going to be anywhere between 1 and 100. You want to be anywhere from 75 to 100. From 75 to 100, you're in good standing. You're in a position where people want to extend credit to you. Anything less than 75, it's on shaky grounds, and they may not extend credit to you, business credit to you. They'll say, well, you need to take care of some of these other liabilities first. But how do you get credit? So one way, as a supplier, you can obtain it through, taking materials on credit, and you pay it off before it's due, the due date in 30 days. Or you can get a credit card. You can get a merchant credit card from, say, a Costco, a Home Depot, or one of those entities, and you pay it off at the before the end of the 30 days. So that's adding credit, because they're reporting to these credit bureaus for you. I mean, these credit centers. The Dun and Bradstreet is one of those. Experian, I believe, is one of those as well. So through Experian and Dun and Bradstreet, those are ways in which you can maintain your business credit. And if you don't know how to go about it, just reach out to Dun and Bradstreet. Ask them, how do I go about obtaining business credit? They'll explain to you. They'll walk you through the process. Now, you may or may not, want to follow their process, but at least you get some knowledge on it, and then you can start doing the process. Like I say, to start out, first of all, if you can get a credit card with Home Depot, which is one of the easiest cards to get, that's a good start for you. Costco, you use that if you're buying materials and you're reselling. That's another way for you to obtain credit as well, and that's get reported on your business credit.
And it's very important that you establish your EIN number. Separate yourself, your personal self, from your business. So one of those, when you're in this to build your business credit, is establish your business as a separate
Mm-hmm.
entity. Um, a separate legal entity is great. It should be from you. You should have a separate bank account from your personal bank account, so that all the expenses and all the transactions that are going through this account is only the business. You have your EIN number, and which is your separate identification of the number for the
Mm-hmm.
business. Now the business kind of standing alone, not you, and then commingling and all of that sort of stuff. It's just the business. So ABCD distributor is now a business, and this is the process to start a business. When should you do this? My guess would be, my advice would be, the minute you start
Yeah,
the business. What
that's
do you
true.
think?
The minute you start the business, you reach out to those creditors and say, "Hey, I'm a small business and I'm trying to obtain business credit. I'd like to apply for a business credit card with you, or business credit. If you're a supplier, you can obtain that as well." And like my co-host said, do not commingle. That means if you're doing business, you use your EIN number. Never use your social security number under the business name, because that's commingling two entities. You're commingling your personal and your business as well. Now, Greg Sneed asked, "What is a score with no business credit? Is it zero?" Yes, it is zero if you have no business credit. So the business credit is scored between 1 and 100. If you have no credit, then it's going to be at a zero. When clients or contract providers do a research on you to see how credible you are to do business, and they see zero, they're going to go, "Oh, this person has no credit." Okay, so keep that in
Right.
mind.
So you want to start establish, and that's why you want to establish this. You want to think what you want, how you want to do business 5 years from now, and so you're not going to wait to 5 years. You want to start this right away. So as Gilbert said, the first thing is well, we both said, your EIN number. Establish the business under a separate legal entity. Then you can do vendor credit, which is now you're applying and getting short term financing, usually net 30s. In order for that, suppliers. So if you have a product, or you are going to require raw materials, then you start establishing your supplier credit. Retail credit is a credit card like a Home
Yeah,
Depot,
yeah.
Lowe's, Costco,
Or Sam's
um,
Club.
service, or Sam's Club, or somewhere of that nature, where you're going to be buying things for the business, not personal, for the
Right.
business. Um, a service credit is being able to establish in your business's name your internet, your cell phone, your cable, your web hosting. All of that is going to be services that are rendered for your business, but is in your business
Yeah.
name. So now you're starting establishing that. And then the final is the business cards, and you can actually get a unsecured. You can get an unsecured. You can get a secure and an unsecured
Right.
business card. So secured means you're going to put down a deposit of some sort, and whatever those limits are, and you're going to conservatively use that card to make purchases. But you're going to be intentional about
Right.
it, because that's how you're going to grow the business credit, right? Your credit worthiness, because they want to see how will you be able to pay them back. So you'll get a secured card. You may have that may be $200, that may be 350 or 500, and as long as you're paying that credit card, the charges that you're incurring within that 30-day period, and never go over 30 days. 31 days, disaster. But I've taken a client's credit from, I mean, low zeros, and I've been able to bring them all the way back up to between 75 and 100,
Yeah.
Gilbert, within a 3 month
Right.
period, by just making sure that all of their bills were paid on time.
And also remember at that point, also you want to try to get a business line of credit for your business as well, because that's going to add to your business credit. Because you get a business line of credit from a bank or a credit union, that's going to count towards your business credit because they were going to automatically report to those business crediting agencies.
Exactly. And it's very important to closely monitor your credit because things happen, things that have nothing to do
Yeah,
with you. You could be hacked. Anything can happen. The bank could be
right,
compromised. So you want to make sure, just like your bookkeeping for your business, you want to make sure you're on top of it. It's too late if you don't look at your credit report, or not too late, but it's more challenging, or you don't look at your bank account for like 4 or 5 months, or at the end of the year when you're getting ready to do your taxes, and then someone's compromised your bank account, and you don't know it until it's like, whoa, wait, what is this? As you're going to get your taxes done, much easier if you see something is happening, in the moment, then you can call your bank right away, and then they can take care of it. So it's very prudent on your part, and this is where Greg talks about financial competency, right? Not letting things just go to the wayside and then coming to them later on and thinking that everything is going to be
right,
okay.
right.
Okay, so that's important. So just to wrap that up, Gilbert, the reason why you want to establish credit for your business is it helps provide better access and credit for viability to your business, and also credit worthiness of your business. So now when you're going out for opportunities, you won't be turned down because you have a poor credit
Yeah.
score or something of that nature. Also, it has a great impact on your repayment terms, your interest rates, your insurance premiums, and all of those things. And then at some point, every business, if you're in a brick and mortar type environment, you want to be positioning yourself so you can buy the building that you are in, because that also brings in additional revenue and for your business.
And
Okay.
also it would be advisable to run a business credit report at least twice a year so you can see what's going on. Usually they say 1 year, you run it every year, but in today's day and time, you want to run it at least twice a year. So I would run one, say, in June and the next one in December of the year just to see if there's any change, any irregularities, or anything going on your business credit.
Okay. Sounds good to me. All right, guys. So that's credit. That's a question that I get asked all the time. And then one more thing before we finish it, before we get off this slide. Be careful of scams, because somebody will come to you and say, "I can fix your credit." You can fix your
Yeah,
own credit. You don't need no outside entities coming in, because generally all they're doing is looking for what this that's their business
yeah.
model. Their business model is, I can fix your
Hmm.
credit, which means it's going to cost you some money in addition to whatever you're doing trying to fix your own credit. You actually can fix your own credit. Just have to say
And
that.
also, when people are saying they can fix your credit, if you haven't vetted those people thoroughly, they could be collecting all your information, all your business information, so they can go use it somewhere else. They can go apply for other business credit cards or whatever. Because now they got your EIN number, they got your company name, your company address, they got your Dun and Bradstreet number, they have your business entity code. If you're trying to do government contracts with the feds, so they have all of that. They probably get a copy of your article of incorporation or article of organization. They probably got a copy of your statement of information. So all of those things, they can use it and go get some business credit or business credit card somewhere else under your business name and start running like it's their own business and start using the credit card or the line of credit. So those things are pretty good.
Yeah, very, very. You have to, and nowadays, Gilbert, everything is about a scam. I think I just got something just recently. today that they're telling you to be very, very careful. The IRS, it does not call you on the phone and tell you that you need to apply. You need to submit your tax returns. They just don't do that.
No,
They don't call you and tell you to pay them
that's
right now.
true.
They
That
don't
is
do
true. Now, Loretta Bolton has a question for you, co-host. She she said,
Let's
should
see.
you purchase your inventory before applying for a business loan?
I think you should see if you could apply for a supplier credit
Yeah,
line. That's what I think, or whoever you're buying your products
yeah,
from, your inventory. I would look at get and I guess that yeah, a supplier credit line or vendor
yeah.
credit. You should have those conversations with
Yeah, if
them.
you can get a vendor credit, man, or yeah, or like Cole said, a credit line. So the credit line may be for 50,000, but you only need 25,000 worth of supplies, then you still got 25,000 left. So that would be a good way to do it, and be mindful of the terms. Make sure the interest rate is a lower rate, and ask them, hey, if since you gave me 30 days to pay this back, what if I pay you in 50 days? Do I get a discount on the amount that I need to pay? So you can ask them that too. Just remember, don't be afraid to ask questions to any creditor, contract provider, or anything, because the way I look at it, they're human just like me. They put on their pants just like me every day, one foot at a time. So, I'm not afraid of them. You see what I'm saying? So, Loretta, what I would do if I were you, find suppliers who can supply the inventory that you're trying to use, and that would be another line of credibility for you, because then it's going to prove to the bank that, hey, this person has credibility. Somebody trusted me to give me inventory for 30 days, that type of thing. So that's what I would do. And what I'll also recommend that you do, Loretta, is to have a relationship with your banker. Have a relationship with that banker so you can sit and talk about your business and where you want to go and what you're trying to do. And then they'll be a little bit more lenient with you in terms of credit
Hmm.
terms and all of that, lines of credit and all of that.
And I always tell that your banker is part of your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
You should have a relationship with your bank, so it's not just your financial CPA and bookkeeper and the person doing your taxes and your attorney. Your bank is actually one of your teammates, because if you sit down and discuss what your business plans are, then they will be the first one in line for your lines of credit. And I have to say this: if you've gone to the bank that you've been doing business with, depositing and transactions, and you go to apply for a loan and they tell you no, and you've been with them 10 years plus, that you need a new
Yeah.
bank, because they're you're just a
Yeah.
depositor for them. So you don't want, as a business owner, you should never just be a depositor. You should be, they're part of your team. They're part of your company's growth,
Yeah.
right?
See, my
So,
my local
and
bank, when I walk in there, they know me by my first name, and that's really what I strive for, guys. You want to make sure your
mhm.
banker knows your first name and not just your account number, because if they know you as your account number, it's like you're nobody to them. They don't really care much about you. But if they put the effort in to learn your first name or your last name and say, "Hey, Mr. Buchanan, welcome to the bank today. How are you doing? How is your business?" And you can tell, hey, we're in the process of pursuing some government contracts right now, and those might be awarded in about a month, 30 days or so, but we need a line of credit in the meantime, so when we get awarded that contract, we can buy materials, we can hire some folks, we can make payroll until the contract is paid. That's going to seem attractive to the bank, because now they're going, wow, these guys are getting access to some money. So let's make a line of credit available to them so we can continuously do business, and hopefully, because they're charging you interest on that money, and that's how they make their profit on those interests.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, so
And the
that's
other
what I would
side of that,
recommend.
yeah, another side of that, Gilbert, is there's another side to that as well. If you let your bank know what's happening in your business, let's say you get a contract and they give you half of a retainer, and that half a
Yeah,
retainer is a
yeah,
large, over $10,000.
yeah,
Now, because now that number, that $10,000 is a magic number at the bank.
yeah,
It sends off all kinds of bells and whistles, right?
yeah,
And so you have to let them know this money is on its way in and where it's coming from, so that they don't have to set up off a 10-story fire alarm and
yeah.
then put a major hold on that money while it's
Right,
coming in. If you
right.
sit down and have that conversation, this is a new client, this is what I'm charging them. This is their retainer, and
Yeah,
so there you go. It's coming in. It's 10,000, 12,000, 15, 20,000, whatever
yeah.
that is. They know they are not. They're aware when it comes in that it's you making this deposit.
Right. And they can, work on freeing it up for you as quickly as possible.
Right, exactly. But I've heard some horror stories that especially today. I don't know what's going on, but I've heard some horror stories that businesses or people are getting, through a business transaction, and they're getting large deposits, and the bank is freezing their accounts, and now everything is in a mess, and
Yes.
then they have to go through all these hoops and processes in order to get access to their own money. Have you heard anything like that, Gilbert?
Oh, yes, yes. As a matter of fact, there was this client this week that was trying to take out $10,000 out of their bank account,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the bank, I guess by law, the bank has the right to ask you, what do you need the money for? Even though it's your own money. What do you
Mm-hmm.
need it for? So a lot of people get offended. I get offended about that. I'm trying to take my money out. You're asking me what I need my own money for, you know. So, so a lot of people get offended about it, man. And just give them a reason. Hey, I got to buy inventory, or I got to buy this, or I got to buy something. I got to hire an employee, something to that effect. Maybe at that time they'll say, hey, you know what? Why don't we open a line of credit for you?
Right.
That's
And that's
yeah.
the relationship, so that they
Yes.
know what's happening, and it's because fraudulent stuff happens all the time. So
Yeah.
if they see that, now my bank, we have a great relationship, because any transaction that don't look like it's something that I
Yeah,
ain't done, they on the
exactly. They
phone
call you up.
calling me. I'm getting phone calls and texts and all kinds of stuff happening in my world. Come
Oh
on in
yeah.
here, we need to talk.
Yeah, that's the good relationship right there with the bank, man. Oh, I received a call the other day from US Bank. They're saying, "Hey, uh somebody somebody just charged some money on your card. Was that you?" I said, "No, I haven't used this card in like 3 years." They said, "Well, this charge was in England, in the UK." I'm going, UK? I'm here in Los Angeles right now. I'm not in the UK, so that's definitely not me. So they
Right.
said, okay, we're gonna put a block on this card so they can't use it anymore. We'll reissue you a new card. I said, thank you, I appreciate that, and thank you for calling me on this, because I would have never known this is
Right,
going on.
exactly. And that happens. So I get those conversations. I get those calls all the time from my bank. So we got a good relationship. And I suggest to you guys, you should have that relationship with your bank.
Co-host, you had a situation one time, right, where you went to Egypt and you're doing business over there, and I guess they needed cash from you, and you had to withdraw cash from your account, and
Well,
they had to
actually,
notify the bank.
yeah, well, because before I leave town, I always let my bank know that I'm going out of town. Even if
Yeah,
I'm just going domestically, I let
right,
them know that I'm going to be in another state in the time
right,
frame. I always tell
right.
them that. So
Good.
in this case, I was on my way to Egypt, and I let them know that the week before, it was all in the notes. And when while I was on the plane, there were, I don't even know how it took. I don't even know how it happened, but hackers and thieves and scammers are quite resourceful. But
Oh
while I
yeah.
was on the plane on a 15-hour flight, somebody was using my card in DC. I
Dang.
was not in DC. I hadn't even had a stopover. I flew from LA to
In the
London
opposite direction.
in the opposite direction, going to London, and then from London to Egypt. And so uh actually not even to London. We were going to Qatar. So I was so when I got there and I saw this transaction, because I look at my bank stuff all the time, and I saw, and then I and my bank reached out and said, "Hey, are you in DC?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not in DC." And so then when I looked at the bank, went to my account, I saw all these transactions and they were popping in, especially after I got off the plane, because I had no access on the plane. So when I
Right.
got off when my texts started to come in, it's like, whoa, what's happening here? So I called my bank, and they immediately told them what was going on, and they said, yeah, we see that's happening. So is that not you? No, it's not me. And so they are like, okay, we're gonna, like you. They blocked the card,
Right.
and then they said, well, let's do this and close the block the temporary access for the bank account. And they
Hmm.
told me to but they would open it up so I could get to ATM to get
Right.
cash, because they
Right.
knew I would just get to wherever I was going.
Yeah.
And then when I got back, I came in and filed a claim, and the money was back like the next day.
Wow. So did they ever find out who did that fraudulent transaction?
And they never told me, but they
Wow.
took care of it on their side.
Wow. That's unbelievable, man. See,
I've had
so
that happen with PayPal too. PayPal will jump right on in there for you.
yeah. See, that's why you got to have a good relationship with these financial institutions, because you never know, man. You never know. When I received that call out of the blue, first of all, when I saw the number, I was going to reject the call. But
Mm.
then it says US Bank. So I said, well, let me check and see what these guys are saying. They said, Sir, Mr. Buchanan, we noticed an unusual charge on your card, your business card. And I'm going, unusual? What happened? It said, it said somebody tried to use your card in the UK at Costco's. I'm going, what?
What the heck? Now, Greg says banks never tell you any further information on the fraud investigation. I guess
Yeah,
once they
that's
pay
true.
you back, then it's all on them at that
Yeah,
point. They pick up the onus of that.
right. And
Uh,
I think they do that just in case it's you. They want to observe and see the activities, and then they can say, "Aha! I thought you said it wasn't you."
right, exactly. Turn around and fly to DC the next week. But yeah, no. But you do have to have a relationship.
Yeah,
So that, there you go, guys. And credit is not a noose around your neck. You can actually change that credit. You just have to be intentional about it and manage your funds. And it actually can cost you a lot of money to not be diligent in that space, because you end up spending astronomical amount of money in interest rates and things like that. I,
right.
I have a client the other day, new client, go to the big TV with the ski mask on. Right, right, exactly. I have a client the other day, and I'm helping them. They're doing something for a client of theirs, and when I had to look at the chart of account, because that's my first step when you were asking me to help you with your accounting. Let me
Yeah,
check this. Let me look at the chart of accounts and see how
yeah,
everything is set up.
right.
I have never seen for one individual so many credit cards in my
Oh
entire
my
life.
lord.
I don't even know how they. I said, are these all active?
So I'm sure they were not all business credit cards, right? There were a lot of personal too,
A
right?
lot of personal, like, oh my God, this debt would have me not sleeping at night. But some people just like to collect credit cards. I don't know
Yeah,
what that's
that's
about. Maybe
crazy.
Greg knows what that is, but that's a whole lot of money going out in interest payments. And some of them are
I remember when I was much younger in my 20s, like 26, 27, 28, 29. I used to do that. I used to collect credit cards, man. I used to have like 10 credit cards and
oh Lord
bragging
have
about it, you know. But after dealing with the consequences of that, I say,
yeah, some big consequences to have that many credit cards.
I said never again. Then I start
Mm-mm.
managing my cards wisely.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're young. Uh, so here's some interesting facts, guys. So, and this is why it's so important for financial competency, as Greg says. An estimated 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck,
Mm-mm-mm.
which is why there's a push. Just the other day, this week, I think they increased employees the minimum wage to $20 an hour.
Oh, they
Uh,
did?
yeah,
Oh,
especially in the food
finally.
industry. Of course, the on the other side of it, the retail, picking 99-cent stores closing because they said they can't afford the $20 an hour.
Oh man, that's crazy, man.
All right. More than 189 million of American population owns credit cards.
Wow.
An average credit card owner owns about 4 cards. Now, this particular person was way over the four limit.
Oh Lord.
uh, Student loan debt is about 1.5 trillion for more than 44 million borrowers. Now,
Man, that's such a scam right there, man.
I know how you feel about that one. Now, there was a payoff, right? There was
There's
an
supposed to be a
absorption.
payoff, but none of us see a penny of that.
Well, there's something happened 2 days ago that Biden signed something that they're
Really?
going to what? Yeah, you better check it out,
I'm
dude.
gonna have to check
Wiping
it
out
out.
credit card. I mean, your college student loan debt.
I'm gonna have to check it
So
out, man, because I've been saying this since what, 2020.
something
And
happened 2 days ago, or yeah,
okay, I'm
two
gonna have to
days
check
ago
it out.
about. So check that out because I don't know if you fit the criteria,
Right.
but they were it was on the news.
Mm-hmm.
Credit card debt levels are at a record high of $1 trillion. That's a lot, and if
That's a
that your
lot.
personal, it just credit cards I think should be used with there are requirements. So Loretta said there are requirements. So check out the requirements, Gilbert.
Oh, okay.
um, hopefully
So
your
some of that requirements may be you cannot have threatened your student loan lender.
even if you do have a school loan that's over 50 years old, I, I really think Gilbert, your 30-year school loan should be eliminated. I
They should
do.
just wipe that out,
They should
man.
wipe yours out, man. That 30 years, man.
And on top of that, I have paid more than the loan is supposed to be, man. And they're still telling me I owe 30 grand. I'm going, what?
That's a perpetual debt you're gonna take. You're gonna have to pass that on to somebody.
Pass it on to my grandkids.
Leave it in the will. Yeah, you should check the requirements and see if you can retire your student debt. Overall, Americans are approximately 12 point, or let's just round this on up. Let's say 13 or 14%
Trillion.
trillion in debt. That's some scary
Wow.
stuff. I try not to be in debt, man. That is not.
Isn't
I like to
isn't
think
that close to the American debt? Because the American debt itself is what, like 22 trillion or something like that.
right. So the
So this is
Americans are,
like less than 10 trillion less than the American debt. Holy Lord.
yeah,
That,
holy moly.
that is crazy.
Which brings you to the benefits of financial literacy and competency.
Yeah.
You have the ability to make better financial decisions,
Mm-hmm.
more effective management of money and debt,
Yeah.
greater equipped to reach financial goals, reduction of your expenses, and less financial stress and anxiety. There
You
are a
know,
lot of people that just they
it,
have heart problems, health problems
oh yes.
because of that anxiety that comes along with
I'm telling you,
the
man, that
debt.
student loan was stressing me out, man. But I noticed Credit Karma sent me a thing the other day and say, "Hey man, your credit score went up 26 points over the last what 6 months or something like that."
Oh, good for you.
I said, "Whoa, this is good."
Well, like I said, nowadays, which is important, and this should have been done long, long time ago. Maybe Greg might, if he's still here, can have some input. I didn't understand how if you were paying, like if you're paying a mortgage, obviously that's being applied to your credit, to
Yes,
your
yes,
credit worthiness, right?
yes,
But if you're
yes.
paying your rent,
Yeah,
was that never?
I
Now I think it
know.
is. That makes no sense.
Yeah, that should have been a factor because now I notice with your direct TV or Spectrum cable
Yeah.
television that they're adding to your credit score as well. So you can have that. You can have your utility bills like your light bill and your gas
Again,
bill.
another one, you pay that
Yeah,
every month. So that's a guarantee.
right,
Your car note is applied. So why
right.
would your utilities not apply?
Yeah,
Why would your rent not apply?
Greg said rent is not credit. Yes, it is. Yes, it is credit.
You
If
paying it every month, Greg.
because if you don't pay your rent, they report you in that black book, man, saying that you were a poor pay, and it goes against you when you go to rent another place. So why
it
shouldn't
it
that?
does go against you. In fact, they look at your credit score in order to rent you an apartment.
Yeah,
So it is an expense. You're right about that. It is an
yeah,
expense, but it should be able to be applied to your credit worthiness, isn't it? Yeah, office rent is a deduction, but
right.
it should be part of your credit worthiness.
So on your trial balance, when you're doing, I mean, I know QuickBooks doesn't do that, because QuickBooks is like a one column entry. But back in the day, man, when we were doing real accounting, you have a trial balance. So you're on the left side, you have the debit, the right side, you got the credit. So,
Well, you
you
do.
know,
QuickBooks does have that. It's working in the
in the
background. It does
background.
have a trial. It has a trial balance. You can
Oh,
you can run
okay.
a trial balance report, but it's
Right.
it's operating. Your debits and credits are taking place, but behind the scenes.
Because when you report a loan, right? Even
Hmm.
though it's some kind of credit, it's still an expense. So that's how I'm looking at the rent. It's an expense that way too.
Well,
Because
it's
the
an
landlord, the landlord give you a credit by letting you stay there for 30 days. That's a credit. So at the end of that, you should be paying on that credit.
yeah. Or at least the fact that you are paying it. Well, it appears through S Experian and Credit Karma, especially
Greg said,
Experian.
no, it should not.
They're giving you credit for the fact that you are paying your rent on a on a timely basis. It's
Yeah.
don't be 30 days because if not, you get a 3-day or quit. So it's going to be 30 days.
Oh my lord, this is hilarious,
To
man.
help solve the credit problem because today credit can be used for everything. I mean,
Yeah,
you might not even get health insurance if your
that's true.
credit is bad. So if it has that much bearance on what you do in
Yeah.
your world, then you should have um, it should have some sort of there should be some sort of criteria that helps you eliminate your exposure. Some more benefits is increased in ethical decision making when you're selecting insurance, loan investments, and using credit cards. Effective creation of structured budgets, which budgets are important. I know people hate budgets, but you
I
really
know.
do.
I was gonna say, I wish more people had a budget. And you know what? I've got a budget. I got two budgets on Small Biz Pro, guys, that you guys can use. Just go there, go to the cash flow management section, click on budget, and you'll see those two budgets that you can use. You could put rent, you could put light bill, water bill, whatever, car payment. All of that, those are expenses, and then your income on the other side, that's your revenues coming into your household. And then, when you calculate the two, whatever is left over, that's your equity.
Exactly. So yeah, it should be. Yeah. The other day I was budgets are like diets. Yeah, that's probably too great. The other day, what something? Oh, our client that's was our client that's looking to refi their mortgage,
Yeah.
and so I had to do a whole financial layout for them,
Yeah.
and so they had some land holding, some repairs, but they were things, just maintenance for the property, right? Things
Hmm.
that are not going to happen again. A roof you put in what every 10 years, repavement of their parking structure, parking lot, and that kind of stuff. And so it really was a capital improvement. So I had
Right.
moved it. I told him, look, this is what was paid out, but I can move it to the balance sheet as a capital improvement, no problem, right?
Right.
And so then the guy's like, well, I don't know, the lender that we were sending it to saw that it it was a very large capital improvement in uh, 2021. And then there was just some follow ups, but nothing significant, nothing like that, right? Not even barely over the 600 threshold marker. And so they were like, well, they see that it's continual. What?
Continual.
No, this was the completion because it carried over into the next year,
Right.
but not continual.
Unless
And
that person can't read the report,
right, exactly. So then he was like, so banks lend based upon your debt worth, your
Yeah.
the 1.25, right?
Right.
And so I said, okay, so well, okay, I'll move that out. That should change it. And he said, yeah, but they, banks want to make sure that you can pay the note. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
get
they
that
look
part.
at your debt service, man.
Your
That's what
debt
they look
service.
at. Yeah.
So I said to him, I said, okay, but how much more is it going to be for what they're paying now?
Yeah.
And so he did a little calculation. And so it was like an additional 300. I said, you got to be kidding, right? If they paid this amount for the last 5 years without ever missing a payment or a
Right.
beat,
Right.
well, now they're going to default for 300
300.
additional dollars.
That's crazy.
So I had to do some other adjustments. I was like, that's kind of wow. They've been doing it, and then I thought, I said, wait a minute, they paid much more than this before they reduced it to this amount.
Exactly.
So they were paying on less revenue coming in, and they never missed a beat. But of course,
See,
they were able
that's
to.
the irrational thing about banks that I don't understand, man. It makes no sense to me. No
Yeah,
sense.
because the numbers don't lie, and if
Right.
you've been able to be able to take care of this, then your financial obligation without ever having missed a beat,
Right.
then okay, it's going to increase a couple. Okay, all right, but no problem. We made a different adjustment, and they went to a different lender. But it was just I'm thinking, what are we talking about? We're going to double the rent. We're going to double the amount.
That's
And they're like,
crazy.
I said, calculate that. What does that look like? It's like about $300 more.
Jeez.
What?
That is crazy, man.
Yeah. In the old days, people rob banks. Today, yeah, banks rob the people.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, Greg. But
And it's
yeah,
never gonna stop either. They're gonna keep robbing us and robbing us,
well,
man.
everybody's robbing you
Yeah.
nowadays. I went to the post office or the UPS to send something in FedEx, and they told me I'm looking at it. The dollar amount was already pretty large,
Yeah.
and then it was an additional $7. And what's this for?
Mhm.
Processing fee. Processing fee.
And that's just something they made up out of the air. It's not written anywhere. The customer never saw that before. It's
What is
crazy,
the
man.
what is the custom? What did you do? I put it in the envelope. I typed the information in the system. You just went over here and hit a button for it to populate
And that's
the
the
label. It's
processing fee right
$7 for the label.
there. Say, ma'am, I had to put a finger on that button. So that's processing right
Wow. But yeah, that's why financially competency makes sense. Like, no, I'm sorry. It may be the exact same when I get to the post office, but I just can't pay you $7 for something that you didn't do.
So financial literacy allows you better choices and options.
Right, exactly. And that's what you want. Choice, choice, choice. It's your money. You're working hard for it. So it should definitely be make more sense for you. Now there are some tools as we kind of talked about today. You can use I don't think Intuit Mint is still around, but Intuit which is QuickBooks, they actually did have. I think Mint, since I've done this, actually is no longer available. But there is the Rocket.
Have you
There's
used
one.
that? The Rocket Money? Have you used that?
I use Rocket Money.
So it's an app, right?
It's an app and it controls. It keeps you just being able to see everything happening. And
Does
if
it do
there's
a budget also?
it will do a budget if you're really connecting it. It also will let you know how reoccurring. Let's say you know how sometimes, and this is important because this happens to a lot of us. You use an app, and then it may
Mhm.
have a 3 day or 7 day or 15 day subscription. You forget about it, right?
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
come back in it, but you've subscribed to it, and you find yourself still paying for something that you're not using. So
yeah.
Rocket allows you to see what is reoccurring, and then you can go in and you can go in and cancel it.
Right.
So that's
Good.
very important because those little dollars add up,
Oh, they do.
and you may even find yourself maybe having two of the same expense, and you don't even know that you have two. So
Right.
that does that one. Expensify does the same thing that the Mint budget and bill tracker. So it tracks your receipts and reports and simple spending report app. Robinhood and Stash. These are actual apps that can help you start your investment portfolios because you don't have to come up with large sums of money. You can buy fractional shares, but you can have access. You have accessibility to actual buy. You don't have to pay any broker fees or any of that. I have both um, Robinhood and Stash. What I like about Stash, if I happen to use my Stash debit card, then whatever um, it rounds the dollars up and then it
Hmm.
reinvests it back into that same app that
Oh,
is the
good.
same place that you may have paid for. So
That's
let's
good.
say I use that at the airport for airlines, then it
Hmm.
will invest the fractions into the airline stock.
Oh, that's good. That's pretty
Hmm.
smart.
Yeah. Robinhood, what's great about them is Robinhood allows you to let you know what IPOs that are about to go public. And then
Hmm.
you can invest in them. Again, you can invest $10, you can invest $5, you can invest 25, 100, 300, 400, 500, whatever it is you want to do, you can invest in that.
Good.
Yeah.
That is
So
good.
these are
So,
ways to create, and that's for your retirement. That's for your extra everyone, because some people are afraid of the stock market, but this is a easier way to do it,
yeah.
and you're learning with small dollar amounts. So when you do get to those big dollar amounts on your that you want to invest in the stock market, but you learn how to read it and know whether or not you want to sell, and if you sell, what the consequences of that. It goes into a um, cash account, and with that cash account, you can actually leave it sitting there, as it's earning money, and then you can use that to buy more stock.
Right, right, right.
So that's
Well,
a good
this has been great information, co-host. Thank you for putting this together.
one.
I knew I could rely on your expertise at the drop of a hat.
Right, you got to do something. You got to be able to do it on a dime.
That's
So
right.
that is our topic today on financial literacy. Maybe we can talk Grant to come in later on in the
Yeah,
month, and he can talk about the financial investments
yeah.
that we can grow our money if that's something he. Uh, thank you, Loretta. Because it's important to have this conversation, and
Oh, for sure.
we actually have, a lot of people have information that they've acquired from the street consultants.
Yeah. And Loretta, remember, this is being broadcast live on YouTube right now. So after the show, you can go straight to YouTube. The link will be there. The video will be there. Just click on it, copy the link, and now you have everything we talk about here today. So you can share that information with other small businesses, or you can keep it so you can refer to it later on. So
Yes.
so either
Loretta
way, it
actually
will be good for you.
Loretta was actually in one of my classes, New Women's Business. She has a women's clothing line, a
Good.
fitness clothing line, I believe. Is that right, Loretta? That's right, right? Yeah, she has I think that's what she has. So yeah, so she's she's in some of the classes that I've taught.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, so she has a beautiful. So yeah, so go over there and try to get some, instead of spending all your money, then get some vendor credit and some
Yes,
supplier credit so that you can start building that credit with them,
that's right.
and you can use your cash for other things in your business. That's the other part of being competent. A financial competency is being able to not use all your cash and sending it out, but being able to let your cash work for you. That's the goal, is to make it
Right.
work for you. All righty.
Sounds
Well,
like a plan.
we had a great show today.
Yeah, this is
Next
good.
week we have a guest. I think she is, and I will give her a call. I'm gonna find out what happened to my other one. But we have a guest next week as well. Let me see who that is, Gilbert. Um,
Mhm.
go
Did you
real up.
find it?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to pull it up right now.
It's
So
on
you
it's
got,
on the homepage with the guests. So
yeah, so it's on the home page, and I did a lot of marketing. So next week we have Amber, Amber Bond. Yeah, I think it's Amber Bond that's going to be on next week.
okay, all right,
hmm
Amber. We're looking forward
Yeah,
to having you on the show, Amber.
yeah. So she is Amber Barnes is doing a Mother's Day special, and they're doing some pop ups, and so she's going to talk about her marketing business and what it takes to set up pop ups for events. All right, everyone. So I want to thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week, same place, same time, 3 o'clock on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Just come on back over and join us. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you next week.
We're out.
All right.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm